Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and I'm delighted to be welcoming someone who has been a role model, a source of inspiration for many devotees, and not just those who subscribe to Vedic philosophy and who are devotee of Lord Krishna, but he has reached across the aisle and touched lives of people belonging to different faiths, and he is also pontiff or Mathadipati of a very important institution. And I have the pleasure of welcoming His Holiness Shri Sugunendra Tirtha Swamiji, Jagadguru Shri Madhvacharya Mool Mahasansthan Shri Puthige Mutt Udupi. Swamiji is here with us, and welcome Swamiji, Pranam.
Narayan, all the best for everyone.
So, as I look at you with face radiating peace, and I remember having read about you that you were only 12 years old when you were inducted into this monastic life. How that came about, if you kindly share some initial formulative years and how you came into contact with Sri Sugunendra Tirtha Swamiji, your Guruji, and what do you think he saw in you that he felt that he should initiate you in sannyasa?
Uh, and first of all, it is my philosophy has come true in my early age only. So everything is as the wish of Lord Krishna. So we didn't dream that I am going to become Swamiji, and even my parents or my family members they didn't knew that. This all of a sudden miracle happened, and so ours is 750 years old Matha, and previous Swamiji, my Guru, Sri Sujnanendra Tirtha Swamiji, he was getting old, and all of a sudden he wanted to take his successor, appoint his successor. For that, he was searching a good boy, and according to our tradition in Udupi Matha, it's a Bala Sannyasa. Uh, we will be appointed in our early age. So he decided to appoint his successor, and somehow one day my Purohit or family Purohit he went to the Mata and for getting blessings and also for the function. After the function, when he was receiving prasad, all of a sudden my guru told that, do you know any boy whom I can appoint as my successor? If you are having any idea, please give horoscopes. Then he came to his house and he had some horoscopes for the Upanayanam of boys, and he handed over that bundle of horoscopes. And my Guru Sri Sujnananda Tirtha Swamiji, he has collected many horoscopes, nearly 300 horoscopes, and he sent it to Kerala to pick up one best horoscope. Then my horoscope was taken, selected. Then she searched who is this person and where he is, and he found. Then he called my parents and said, I have selected your son as my successor. Do you agree? Then he has given only half an hour. This only half an hour because many people, he has selected nearly 8 horoscopes. And actually, his health was deteriorating, so that he was in a hurry to appoint the successor. Then he has given only half an hour to decide. Then he asked me also. Then I said, what means Swamiji? I don't know anything. Then he said, you should worship Lord Krishna. Then I was so happy. Okay, worshiping Lord Krishna is very favorite to me, so that I am going to agree. And my father and mother they were thinking what to do. But finally, my mother was so devoted to Lord Krishna, she decided that if my boy is going to worship Lord Krishna in Udupi, then it is my bhagyam. So they both of them they accepted. Within half an hour, it was decided, and immediately my guru told that you should come and you should be the Swamiji of this matha. So
Wonderful.
yeah, it's
It's,
overnight. It's like overnight. And then we realized that so our life is not in our hand. So someone is planning and someone is executing his plan. So we are only instrument. That is my philosophy. I witnessed it in my early age only. So overnight I have become Swamiji, and after that, after 3 months, he passed away.
yeah.
And
Sorry, allow me to interrupt you. So let us learn a little bit about devotion for Lord Krishna, which you already had even before you became Swamiji as were ordained. So, what changed in terms of the way you were practicing your devotion and the way clarity about who or what Lord Krishna is? It it grew in you more once you started practicing as a sannyasi, probably. So, talk to me about the difference at home with your parents. Also, you were devoted to Lord Krishna, and once you came to the ashram, what was the difference?
yeah, in the early age it was not clear, but day by day it is becoming clear that the philosophy given by Lord Krishna in Gita it is 100% true. So that is the realization I am having every day. So what he says, so everything is planned by him and everything is according to his plan. So that we are just instruments and we should watch and we should follow. That is the only the thing we are day by day we are realizing that.
So now, while this sounds very good, sometimes people use this as a way to escape from their responsibility. But let us look at it step by step with your help. Uh, the way you have perceived the teaching of Lord Krishna, uh, what would you say is the key message which is most relevant for us in today's world while we are facing a lot of challenges, including terrorism?
Yeah, the mm, the main message of Bhagavad Gita is more relevant today. Uh, if you ask that to deliver the message of Gita in 2 minutes, then I can say, I would say, Vimrisheta Dasheshena Yadechati Tathakam. Sri Krishna is not imposing anything on us. He says, keep your eye all the time open. And whatever you think it is correct, then only you should accept that. Vimrisheta Dasheshena Yadechati Tathakam. Now the terrorism has come from blindness. Those people who are terrorists, they are very blind. They are not opening their eyes. So if the message of Krishna, that open your eye all the time, keep your eye open. If we practice that, then slowly terrorism may vanish. That is why all the time I emphasize Gita is the solution for all kinds of problems, even universal problem. Not only for the individual problem, but also for the universal problem. The only solution is Bhagavad Gita, the message of Bhagavad Gita. So they should open their eye. You cannot solve the terrorism by super terrorism, or you cannot teach them by forcing them and threatening them. Threatening is the solution, not the permanent solution. But our thing is, these are all people, they are also human beings, but only the things they have made blind. So let them become having the opened eyes. We should make them open eyes. That is only the solution for that.
So it sounds very good, Swamiji, but when we look at the way one would work towards opening eyes, um, many times people cannot open their own eyes. So to open the eyes of people who are not willing and who are resorting to violence and making use of arms and ammunitions, uh, it it sounds little impractical to a common man that we would expect them to open their eyes who are willing to kill. That is what terrorism has resorted to. And right now, what we have seen, the way things unfolded in Afghanistan, that also makes people worry a little bit more about terrorism. So we come back to focus on terrorism. Let me hear the meaning of spirituality and practicing spirituality from you, please.
Yeah, spirituality means recognizing the divinity in every person, respecting one's existence. That is the real spirituality. And for terrorists, we should see these so-called terrorists. They have converted terrorists. They are not born terrorists. All the terrorists, in one day, they converted into terrorists. When they were born, they were not terrorists. Or until 20 years or 30 years, they were not terrorists. Then how they converted into terrorists, we should understand that. Because nowadays, the thinking power is coming down of the people. So if someone is spoiling the mind, then easily he can spoil the mind. That is why we should stop the spoiling processor. You should put the brake on that. Then only you can control terrorists. This once the milk is spoiled, you cannot bring back the milk again. That is why the misguiding and misleading the people, that organized misleading should be stopped. Unless we don't do that, we cannot solve this problem. So those people who are considered as terrorists, they were kind enough before they have become terrorists. Then what made them to become terrorists? That means they are not having thinking power. They are not having developed their thinking power. That is the point I am emphasizing all the time. Nowadays, the thinking power is coming down in the whole world. People, they are easily mesmerized, they are easily misguided. So in our education system, you should strengthen the power of thinking, and you should strengthen the power of decision making. Then only we can solve this kind of problems. So,
This again reminds me of the current situation that we are facing. So there are two kinds of people. One are more learning about the importance of compassion, kindness, and there are others who feels that by taking lives of people who do not subscribe to a certain ideology or do not follow the same path that they subscribe to, they are willing to destroy them. So these are two classes. Now it how to sustain hope in the face of recurring violent scenes which we see in different parts of the world is one question. And allow me to add, I am happy to see that you belong to a traditional Vedic path. but you were also elected as international president of the Religion for Peace, and you addressed at Amman, Jordan, and then again in 2006 at Kyoto, Japan. Also, you were re-elected. So, what was your experience while you interacted with people from different religious background?
Yeah, I noticed that um, whom we are calling the terrorists, they are only 1 or 2%, and rest of the 97, 98% people are not terrorists. They keep mum. This only 2%, 3% people they are vocal. That is why they are strengthened. Once you make 97% people vocal and active, then 3% will come down. So what we are planning, nowadays what is going on, it is created like that. Whole community is terrorist community. Whole population is terrorist population. It is not true. The truth is only small percent of people they are doing all these things. Other people are silent. Make them vocal, make activate them, then this 3% will come down. And whatever who are considered as good people, goodness means silence. Silence is not at all the goodness, but they should be activated. That is the solution. That is why I have relationship with many community leaders, Muslims, Christians. I consider them as very pious people and good people, but they are not active. Once this kind of injustice becomes, the same community people should condemn that, not other people. Then this kind of activities will be stopped.
So, you
So
made a
awake the good people, then bad people will be controlled.
I think you make a very, very good point, and it makes a lot of sense. But the question how again comes to our mind: how to make them move beyond remaining silent spectators and come up with criticism, condemnation, or counter point of view in the face of terror activities. How that can be accomplished, Swamiji? How hopeful you are?
First of all, media should give uh, voice for them also. Nowadays, medias are only focusing terrorist activities. If you condemn terrorist, they will not publish that. Or if you do something um, positive things, then it will not be appeared. If something goes wrong and something goes negative, then it will be highlighted. So all that time, when you media should support positive things, then negative thing will come down. Now the era of publicity, this is the era of media. So media should support good people and highlight their good deeds, good actions. Then automatically other part will come down.
That's a very valid point, Swamiji, and I'm fortunate that our media is doing something in that direction with your help
I'm not
through.
pointing any particular media. It is in general.
No, no, I agree, but I just look at the significance of our conversation in this direction, and I'll come back to spirituality and terrorism, but there is another insensitive treatment which we as human beings, as human race, are extending for Mother Earth, and you have been very vocal in highlighting the issues related to ecology and protection of the environment, and you being a bhakt of Lord Krishna, so all the leelas of Lord Krishna, whether in Srimad Bhagavat, we have him uh, very closely connected to different aspects of nature. Talk to me about your concerns as well as your suggestions to have healthy uh, relationship with the environment.
Yeah, first of all, we should realize the philosophy given by Lord Krishna. We should know the purpose of the life, why we have come to this earth. We have come to this earth for evolution. That means to attain the moksha. And we are not permanent here. And along with us, other people also they have come for the same person, the purpose. So when you consider other people also like me, then you will not harm him. When you consider it is me and its ego, then you start to um, harass other persons. So we should consider every person as co-passenger or like classmate. So we are all for one purpose. Then we will make the balance. So like us, other people also live and let live. This is the intention of Lord Krishna. So he has created this earth and every arrangements in the view of this philosophy. So if one will understand this, then ecological balance and harmony, everything will be done. First of all, what we are doing now, we are boosting the egos. I am supreme and mine is supreme and I am only one and everything should for me. Everything should the benefit of me. I need not consider any other person. Like that, we are boosting the egos. In return, these kinds of problems will be there. So once we stop the boosting the egos in our education system and in lifestyle, then all these kinds of problem will be solved. That is why we should spread that we live and we let live.
Live and let live, that is the message from Swamiji, which works well to protect environment as well as to promote the values which are helpful for harmony and peaceful coexistence. And Swamiji, continuing with the teaching of Lord Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, the importance of evenness of mind, sama shatraucha mitraicha. So whether you are with your enemy or with your friend, that sense of equanimity which is suggested or which is preached or shared by Lord Krishna through Bhagavad Gita. Now, in today's world, I also bring in your presence the reference of Nirvair, which is even when you are fighting, you are not fighting with a sense of animosity. It is a dharma yuddha. So, can you help us understand what is the meaning of Nirvair? So, when Arjuna is encouraged to do his duty and fight without having that uh, animosity in his heart, as I understand. Is that correct, Swamiji?
Yeah. Nirvaira means with full of vaira. Vaira on principles, not persons. If you hate the bad principle, then it is nirvaira. Don't accept the bad principle, but don't hate the person. Personal hating should be banned, but bad values, principles should be hated. That is the meaning of nirvaira. So Krishna said, Arjuna, don't think about your personal equation or personal consequence. Think about the values. Think about your duty. That is nirvaira. What will happen for me, I don't care. But what is the values and what is the principles, I should care. Then I will be considered as nirvana. Personal hatredness should not be there.
Beautiful. And Swamiji, we just have few minutes left, and there are so many questions which one would like to seek clarification from you. But one important question relates to the relationship between devotion and spirituality. So there are some people who are very, very devoted, and they are dedicated to following devotional practices, but probably they are not spiritual. But there are some people, they say that I am spiritual but I'm not religious, and I don't follow the traditional path of devotion. You want to say something about this space?
Yeah, and actually, devotional spirituality one and same. It is like I may say he is my close friend, but I don't talk to him, I don't see him, I don't go to his house, but he is very close to me. It is meaningless. If you are devotional, you should be spiritual also. Spirituality and devotion is one and same. Who are telling that I am spiritual, I am not having any devotion, they are not really spiritual. Spirituality ends with devotion. It is the expression of spirituality. That is why the final form of spirituality is the devotion.
And Swamiji, how to intensify devotion? What are the practices which do you think are easy for modern mind to accept and grow in devotion?
The selfless services are the main step for developing the devotion. Once you practice that nishkama karma without any swartha, then slowly devotion will be strengthened. And next, to please God, whatever He says, whatever His opinion, I should follow that. If you go on searching the wish of God, then devotion will be developed. That is why we should follow Shastram, which is considered as the wish of God, and which is considered as the rules of God. So if you follow the Shastram, then you are following the order of Lord. Then your devotion will be strengthened. The first step is selfless service. No personal benefit, no personal view, only everything for His please, and everything is according to His wish. If we follow these principles, then the devotion will be strengthened.
And Swamiji, such a pleasure and honor to be talking to you. Last question, though long, but I just want very brief answer. How confident you are that spirituality would succeed in overcoming terrorism, and any time period that you can think of?
First of all, rulers should have the spiritual background. Nowadays, in olden days, rulers they were backed by rishis and munis and they were guiding. Nowadays, rulers are not backed by spiritual people. That is why they are putting wrong steps. That is why this problem is increasing. I request all rulers to become spiritual people and to have the Duradrushti and consider everyone as their subjects, then only this kind of problem will be solved.
Thank you very much, Swamiji. Such a pleasure and honor to be talking to you. And I think this advice is very, very valuable. Once again, my guest today sharing his views on countering terrorism with spirituality, Shri Sugunendra Tirtha Swamiji Jagadguru Shri Madhvacharya Mool Mahasansthan Shri Puttige Mat Udupi. Pranams to you, Swamiji. Thank you very much.
All the best.
So while I extend my pranams to him, I also thank all of you for being a part of this relevant and important conversation. This is Ashok Vyas. Namaste.